Some calls are pretty standard, meaning you can easily walk your distressed caller through the steps of the emergency before the police arrive. Unfortunately, they don't all end up the way you want them to. Home invasions are pretty common, or the start of a home invasion at least. People often call paranoid that someone may be in or around their house, and that leads to a pretty standard call. Lock all the doors, hide somewhere where you can't be seen, and wait for the police. For confidentiality reasons, all names have been made up. This call came in shortly after 10 p.m. on a Wednesday night. 911, what's your emergency?
Yes, hello. There's someone at our door, and they won't leave.
Okay, what's your name? Can you tell me what happened?
Kevin, and I'm with my wife Sherry. I woke up because my wife said she heard someone at our door, and I checked and there's a man there. I told him to leave, but he won't. It's been 15 minutes and he's still standing there.
Okay, Kevin, I'm sending someone over right now. Did the man say anything to you?
He did say something, but I couldn't hear it through the door. My wife and I are super freaked out right now.
Understandable. Where are you both right now? Can you see him?
I can't see him, no. We're in the bedroom down the hall.
Can you check to see if he's still there?
Okay, yeah. Honey, stay here. I'll be right back. I can't see him. Do you think he left? That's good, right?
That's good, but we're just going to stay on the line together until the police arrive, okay?
Why? If he's gone, then you can call off the police.
Well, we don't know if he's actually gone, right? I'm just ensuring yours and your wife's safety.
Oh, true, I guess.
Kevin, I'm going to ask you to go around and check all the doors and windows to make sure they're locked. I just want to make sure you're both safe and secure.
Okay, I'll check. What do I do if my deck door is unlocked?
Is there any sign that someone may have come in through there? Or is there any way someone could get onto your deck?
Yeah. We have stairs to our deck. It doesn't really look like anyone came in. But I don't know, the door wasn't latched shut. What do I do? What if he's inside?
We're not going to panic just yet, okay? We don't even know if he's in the house or if he's actually left. I want you to lock the patio door and go back to your wife. I want you guys to stay in that room until the police get there.
Okay. Honey?
Kevin? Are you alright? What's wrong?
I don't know where she is. She was right here when I left to check. Oh God, please. Please don't.
Kevin, what's going on?
The man is in here. He's right here. He's got my wife and a gun. Honey, are you okay? Please, let her go. Please.
Kevin, what is he saying?
I don't understand what you're saying. You have to believe me. No, please don't hurt my wife.
Offer him the phone.
Someone wants to talk to you.
Hello? Who's there?
Sir, can you tell me what is going on?
I don't know who they are and what they've done to me.
What do you mean? What have they done?
They thought. They thought wrong.
You don't want to hurt them. They didn't do anything to you.
They thought I would forget, but I didn't. I'm not crazy.
You're not crazy, okay? The police are almost there. They can help you.
No. Something needs to happen. Now.
The police are almost there. Less than a minute.
Wait!
No!
No!
Sir, what happened?
They can't hurt anybody else now.
When the police arrived on scene, the man surrendered his weapon and was arrested. Kevin was shot twice, and Sherry once. Kevin was dead upon police arrival, and Sherry died later that evening in the ICU. A friend of mine who was dispatched that night let me in on a few details of the incident. The intruder was a severely mentally ill man who had spent his entire childhood being raped and abused by his father and neglected by his mother, growing up in the very home that Kevin and Sherry owned. The man was delusional and mistook Kevin and Sherry as his mother and father.
This call was placed just after 1 a.m. on a Friday night. 911, what's your emergency? Oh, we fucked up. We fucked up really fucking bad. Oh, fuck's sakes. I'm at a party at 152 Millcroft. I could hear music blasting in the background as a young man yelled over the phone to me. I was on speaker. There were other voices, but I couldn't make out what they were saying in the midst of all the music. Can you tell me your name? What happened? I can barely hear you. Tanner. I think she's having like a seizure or like puking or something. I don't know. He was hysterically sobbing into the phone at this point. Okay, Tanner. I need you to turn her on her side and put something under her head. If she's seizing, she might choke on her vomit. So you need to keep her turned over and make sure her mouth stays open. Don't hold her down though. You might hurt her. I sent out a dispatch. Cole, are you deaf? He just said not to hold her down. Stop holding her fucking legs, dude. He was yelling over to someone else. Tanner, can you tell me what happened? And who are you with? Did you find her like that? No, we did this to her. Oh, fuck. It's me, Cole, and Mike. Is she gonna die? She's not stopping. Okay, I just need you to keep her on her side. What exactly happened? He didn't need to tell me what was happening for me to realize what was going on. We put some stuff in her drink. Some guy gave it to me and said it works. We didn't know it would end like this. We fucked up, man. So fucking bad. He was sobbing into the phone, and the rational person inside of me completely disappeared. The anger inside of me started to build. Do you know what you gave her? How long has she been seizing? Why would you drug her? It's been a few minutes. She kind of stops for a bit and then starts again. I don't know. I don't know what we gave her. I didn't ask the guy. I just wanted to have a good time with her, you know? I didn't think that... No, you didn't think. I can't be certain, but it sounds like she's having an overdose. How much did you put in her drink? It was a little bag, and I dumped it in. I don't know how much I gave to her. You shouldn't have given anything to her in the first place. The police and ambulance are on the way. Oh, fuck. Are we gonna go to jail for this? It wasn't like we wanted this to happen. It was a mistake. What if she fucking dies? Let's hope she doesn't. It isn't looking good for any of you. Let's focus on her. Is she still seizing? The bitterness in my voice was present, despite knowing that I always had to be objective to the callers, no matter the situation. No, she's not. Is that bad? Is she breathing? I don't know. You need to check that for me. If not, you need to start chest compressions. You fucking check. This was your fucking idea. Tanner yelled over to someone who was protesting the idea of checking her breathing. At this point, my own temper was rising. Who cares who checks her breathing? Just fucking do it. If she dies, it's all on your hands. I snapped through the phone. Oh, okay. Tanner took a moment, mumbled something in the midst of sobbing, and broke down on the phone. She's not fucking breathing. I fucking killed her. Holy shit. I could hear him starting to do chest compressions on the girl. At this point, I was screaming obscenities at the young man on the other line and telling them that they were going to rot in jail for murder. My supervisor at the time cut in immediately when she heard the commotion and then took over the call. Unfortunately, the girl did in fact die from an overdose. She was 16 years old. The 3 men involved in the incident were 19 years old, charged with criminal negligence causing death. Their sentence was 4 years with parole, seeing as though it was their first offense. However, if you ask me, 4 years of imprisonment isn't enough for what they did to that poor girl. 2 of the 3 were released on good behavior after serving 2 years of their sentence. They, in turn, were shunned by most of the members of the city for what they did. I have no idea what they're doing now and where they ended up, but honestly I couldn't care less. Maybe that makes me a bad person, but I'm willing to live with that. This call came in around 8 p.m. 911, what's your emergency? Hello? A woman was sobbing on the other line. What's your emergency? Is there really a point to all of this? To what, dear? I softened my voice, ready to approach this type of call. Life. Of course there is. Sometimes you just can't see it, but there is. It's there. How would you know? You wouldn't understand. I understand more than you think. Can you tell me your name? Casey. Casey. I like that name. Where are you right now? I want to get you help. I'm in my apartment. Do you know where Jefferson Street is? I do. I'm setting out dispatch now. What if I don't make it in time? Her voice was shaky as she spoke. Casey, why don't you talk to me until they get there? I'm not going to tell some stranger my problems and hope that maybe he'll understand. I don't even know your name, so telling you about my problems is just ridiculous. I'm ridiculous for thinking this would even work. My name's Ethan, so now you know who I am. I've been where you are many times, and I didn't know who to turn to. But you did. You called 911 hoping that someone would hear your cry for help. And guess what? It worked. I'm here. I'm listening, and I care. She laughed through her tears. But you don't even know me. I might not know you, but I know that you're a good person. I'm not a good person, trust me. She practically spit the words out of her mouth. You shouldn't be so hard on yourself. We all make mistakes, but that doesn't define us. Whatever you've done in the past, it's the past. Think about your future. The conversation deepened. She spoke to me about her problems and I listened. I waited for the police to arrive before I told her she could hang up. She thanked me and wished me the best. She told me that I saved her life and that I was a true hero. It was a great outcome. The call itself never bothered me, because why would it? It was a standard cry for help. I was used to dealing with people who were mentally ill and sometimes just needed someone to relate to or someone they could vent to. It was my job, and I did all that I could for her. Like I said, it was a great outcome, or so I thought. I wish it ended there. I really do, because a part of me changed the moment the line fell silent without me even realizing it. Incident 1. It was about a week or so after that call that I got a friend request on Facebook. I didn't think anything of it, accepted the request, and proceeded to ask if I knew the woman who added me. She said yes, and went on to explain that she was the woman that I had talked out of suicide a week earlier, and that she found me on Facebook to say thank you. I was a little uneasy, not because she wanted to say thanks, but how easily she found me on Facebook. Feeling uncomfortable, I told her it was highly inappropriate to follow up with a caller because the call should never get that personal in the first place. So for good measure, I asked her not to contact me again, and then I proceeded to block her.
I thought my problems were solved. Incident 2. It had been nearly 3 months since the first incident, and nothing happened. I completely forgot about the incident with Casey, and was merely moving on with my life, until my girlfriend Sarah curiously asked me if I knew a young woman by the name of Casey. At first, I wasn't sure who she was talking about, but when she showed me her picture, I was shocked to see who it was. I was kind of annoyed at this point, because why would someone go through this much trouble to say thank you? They wouldn't unless there was something wrong with them. I understood to a certain extent I saved her life, but this was a bit too much, especially for something that happened 3 months ago. Sarah, being as naive as she was at the time, assured me that she was just trying to be nice, so she decided to connect with her on Facebook, despite me telling her not to. They quickly became friends. I saw a lot of Casey during the time they were friends. She would come over often, and every time she did, there was a feeling of uncertainty. There was just something about her, about the way she spoke to me, that made my skin crawl. I always felt like there was more to her than what she put on display. She severely creeped me out, but I couldn't quite figure out why. Incident 3. I think it had just been over a month that they had been friends, when Casey came over one day while Sarah was out. She knocked on the door and asked where Sarah was. I explained that she was out for a little bit, and that she would be home later, and I encouraged her to call her later on to see what she was up to. She completely bypassed my suggestion and asked if she could wait for her inside. I was reluctant at first, but she was adamant on waiting. We sat in silence for a while, and then she started to speak. "Ethan, do you ever think about other women other than Sarah?" I could hear the amusement in her voice. No, why would I? I was confused and started to feel very uncomfortable. "Well, I see the way you look at me sometimes, and I can't help but feel like you like what you see." I remember how her lips curved into a smile. She was hoping that I would tell her what she wanted to hear. You need to go, like, right now." I yelled at her, and as she was getting up, Sarah came in, delighted to see not only me, but her newest friend. I didn't say a word, and in turn walked into my office. Believe me when I say I wanted to tell Sarah. Every part of me did, but there was a small part of me that believed that it would be selfish to ruin a friendship that she was so happy about. So I decided that I would ignore her, and I did successfully. Incident 4. Let's fast forward another month later. Sarah came home one day, frazzled and very upset. Upon discussing why she was upset, she mentioned that she felt uncomfortable with Casey, and that she didn't want to speak, hear, or see her anymore. However, she wouldn't tell me why. Being the person that I am, I quickly went onto her phone and sent Casey a message telling her to leave both Sarah and I alone, and then blocked her on everything. It was a few days later when Sarah finally opened up to me about Casey. Apparently, she had been asking very personal questions about me. Questions pertaining my size, what I like in bed, how many people I've slept with, how often Sarah and I have sex, amongst other sexual questions. Sarah said that she had a feeling Casey had some sort of infatuation with me because of how often she asked about me and brought me up in conversation. However, seeing how upset she was about that, I decided not to tell her about the incident. I didn't want to make things worse. I wanted to move on and forget about Casey entirely. Incident 5. I came home one morning. It was just after 8 a.m., and Sarah had already left for work. It was a long shift, and I was beyond exhausted, so I got into the shower and was getting ready for bed when there was a knock at my door. I quickly put on some clothes and answered the door, thinking it was something from the post, but it wasn't. It had been nearly 6 months since the last incident with Casey, so seeing her on my doorstep took me by surprise. I almost didn't even recognize her. She looked different, more mature than the last time I'd seen her. I was unsure of what to do, so I just stood there, not knowing if I should tell her to leave or even ask her what she wanted. She made my decision for me by walking past me and sitting on my couch. She started to undress and told me how she knew how I felt about her and that it was okay because she knew Sarah was gone. She said she wouldn't keep me up for much longer. The following events happened in somewhat of a blur. The first thing that came out of my mouth was something along the lines of, "You need help. Get the fuck out of my house. If you don't leave right now, I'm calling the police." I've seen girls freak out and get violent. Hell, I lived with an older sister. I know how they can be, but I could visibly see her shake out of anger. I had never seen a woman get that angry before. She let out a shrieking noise and then pounced on me, clawing at my face and yelling obscenities at me. I eventually managed to get my weight and height up against her and pinned her down, keeping her sharp nails away from my face. She then started to make sexual comments about being pinned down, talking to me about how my girlfriend wouldn't like that, and with that, my anger peaked. Now, I'm not a violent man, but in the midst of dealing with Casey, I could barely control myself and wrapped my hands around her neck. She spat in my face and said, "Do it," and deep within me, I wanted to. I really did. I resented her for the things she said to Sarah, and the things she said about me. I was angry, the angriest I've ever been. I squeezed hard, bringing her face closer to mine, and then letting go. Her head fell back and hit the floor with a loud thud, and she was out cold. I quickly got up and grabbed the phone, explaining the details to a fellow dispatcher about what just happened. I then proceeded to call my girlfriend. Once the police arrived on scene, I described the events that occurred before this one. One of the officers recognized her right away. Upon further discussion, I found out she was notorious for this kind of behavior. I was not the first, and will not be the last man she obsesses over and stalks. He told me about the first time he heard of her being arrested. She was only 17 at the time, and stalked her ex-boyfriend to the point that her parents of the ex placed a restraining order against her. A few years later, she was placed in an institution. She was there for 2 years after she tried to harm a woman for dating a man she was infatuated with. From what the officer knew, I was her latest victim. I'm not sure whether or not she was institutionalized, but Sarah and I charged her with stalking and also had restraining orders put against her. It's been just over 2.5 years since this happened, and I still feel the effects of it to this day. Although I haven't seen or heard of her since, I no longer have social media, and Reddit has actually been one of the only social media outlets I have been on since. Experiences like these tend to change a person, and I can definitely say that I've changed, and not for the better.